So kita akan start dengan market overview. So if you can look at it, the market overview, the current population of Malaysia is stand at 32 million, and the GDP stand at over 1 billion of US dollar, 1,000 billion US dollar. In terms of GDP per capita, we stand at 30,815. So when we look at the 32 million population, 92% is citizen, about 8% is non-citizen. But the most important thing is to look at the age gap. If you can look at the age gap, there's only 6% of the Malaysian total population that is aged 65 years old and over. Most of them from 15 to 64 years old is 70%, 0 to 14 years old is 24%. So the median age for Malaysia is actually 28.6 years old, relatively making Malaysia a very young country with their populations. So when we look at the potential of Malaysia as a tourism or an outbound market, so in terms of Malaysia is actually the third largest in economy in terms of GDP, and as well as the third largest in the nation of Southeast Asia in terms of GDP per capita. Malaysia is also ranked number 1 in terms of total number of outbound trip among all Southeast Asian countries, which is recorded at 12,317,000 trips in year 2017. This is the source from ETC, European Travel Commission. So Malaysia also ranked second after Singapore in terms of total outbound expenditure in the Southeast Asian country, with a compound spend of 10.699 million US dollars. This is also from ETC, the source. According to the news report, the economy of Malaysia is supposed to be continue to grow, and in the next 10 years to reach 1.3 trillion US dollar in 2030, and most probably would overtake Singapore as the largest or the wealthiest country in Southeast Asia. So lastly, Malaysia passport also ranked number 4 most powerful in Asia, enabling Malaysians to travel to more than 179 countries for visa free. If we look if we look further on the demographic wise, you can see that just now, Assistant Deputy Pakami has already mentioned a lot in terms of the importance of addressing to the millennials market, because if you look at the age groups of the millennials right now for the Gen Z and Gen Y, actually for the Gen Y itself, it represents about 30% of almost 30% of the total Malaysian population, which is about near to 10 million people. We have only 32 million, and they almost represent near to 10 million. But if you include Gen Z, which is 26%, it almost covers about 50% of the total population. That means for the years to come, the more than 50% of the Malaysian travelers that you can expect to target are young in age. So to look at a little bit on the travel trends and profile, so this is actually a survey done by Cody.com. The period of survey is done around April to May 2019. It's relatively very new, so it's quite accurate numbers. It was done with a respondent of 20,000 Malaysian travelers. But how was it done? It's actually done through an online survey. So basically, we have all probably not taking this survey. So it's usually more towards young people because it's an online survey. And according to the first result of the survey, this is the top 5 favorite destination by Malaysian travelers, the 30,000 respondents. So the first is, not to surprise, the first is Thailand, followed by Indonesia, China, Singapore, and Taiwan. So when we go further in to look at the next data that we gather, how often do Malaysia go on holiday? If you look at it, the target audience for us is going to be once a year, twice a year, and more than twice a year. If you group up all this, it's about 80%. That means there is 80% of the total population that we can target. In terms of where they go on holiday, although we know that it's cheaper to travel on low season, but we still have to travel around the high season and shoulder season, because Malaysians tend to travel with family, so we sometimes have to wait for our children's school holiday in order to able to travel together. In terms of the average length of stay, 43% of Malaysians prefer to have less than a week, and 41% to be around a week. Actually, if you group all this is already more than 80% of how most of Malaysians like to travel or how long they will go for travel. Generally now Malaysians are traveling shorter trip but more frequent. So if you're gonna do a packaging, usually it shouldn't be anything more than a week because 80% of Malaysians would never take a more than a week package. So this is quite different because if we look at like European from France, from Germany, or Amsterdam, even to certain extent of Australia, they tend to go above 1 week. But for Malaysians, usually it's a shorter trip, less than a week. So if we go further down, whom do they want to travel with? And this chart itself shows quite clearly that 54% of the Malaysians wanted to travel with their family, 23% to travel with their partners, they can be girlfriend, they can be wife without children, and 12% by family. So to reiterate what Pak Asdaq just mentioned as well, only 1% of people who wanted to travel alone. So basically, usually the package, people wanted to have a package of a family or a group kind of a packages. If we look further down, the illustration shows us that 67% of Malaysians actually buy ticket in advance, and 50% of them also book their booking in advance. So relatively, Malaysia is actually quite an advanced booking market. So if you want to capture Malaysia market, you need to be tackling them even earlier because they are advanced booker. So this chart itself will probably raise some alarm to you all. So according to the chart itself, 88% of the respondents out of the 20,000 respondents say that they will wanted to organize their trip by themselves, booking FIT packages, picking up themselves partial by direct hotel bookings, as well as some activity directly with the OTAs or the travel agents. And only 12% actually responded that they will actually use the travel agent for the full package tour. But again, I want to give a disclaimer. This survey is done by young people because it's an online survey. So again, you still have your mass market to have to depend on travel agents, but this is what we see for the near future to come. That means for the next few years to come, where the generation of travelers become younger and younger, this is what will happen. This is what they are looking at. They're looking at booking directly, they're looking at self-booking, FITs, and online booking. And next, if you look at it, again, we say that Asdaq also mentioned that we have to continue to create new packages, which is quite true because if you look at the chart itself, only 21% of the respondents say that they will want to visit the same place again. 79% of the respondents wanted to visit somewhere new. So people are constantly looking for new experience, new destination, and new things to do. If we are going to sell the same old package, you usually don't get them the second time because the repeat business is only about 21% of it. And again, men's are also booking at once, ladies even earlier at 74% booking at once. And usually what they like to do is to go on sightseeing, about 61% of them, and 28% to go on beaches destination like Lombok here. So in terms of food, you can look at it as well that about 42% of them wanted to have something food that they are familiar with, but actually there is also 39% of them that will willing to try new type of food. So this is actually Steph also presented the flight frequency into Indonesia, but this is to show you who is the big airlines that has the most market share from Malaysia into Indonesia. So if you look at it from Asia Group as well as Asia X and Asia Indonesia, if you group all together, it's actually 59.74%. So it's almost 60% of the market share held by AirAsia, and 70% by Malaysia Airlines, and 14% by Malindo. So we also picked this up. This is a survey done by Expedia.com in terms of what Malaysian think of why do they pick that destination for holiday. So if you can look at it, Indonesia, Korea, Taiwan, Vietnam, and Thailand, most of them say that they pick this destination because they want to spend time with their friends and family. So again, it shows how important your package is towards the friends and family type. Only when they choose China, they choose for a city break, and when Japan, most of them choose for explore culture and heritage. Otherwise, you can see it's very consistent that Malaysia always wanted to spend time with their family and friends, and actually it means that the reason why Malaysia want to travel is actually to spend time with their families and loved ones. So again, this is another survey that we did during our most of our travel fair in Malaysia, in terms of what the reason Malaysia wanted to visit Indonesia, or what they actually look forward when they want to visit Indonesia. So about 43% of them say that they are coming to Indonesia because they wanted to experience the nature, scenic landscape and wildlife. 25% about arts, culture and heritage. 80% recreation and leisure, which includes shopping, and only 2% on adventure. So you basically roughly know what is your unique selling point in Indonesia that is appealing to the Malaysian traveler, that the Malaysian traveler likes. So this is a data that we picked up from EastMesh, which is a IATA program. So it shows you that the top 10 travel agents that are selling to Indonesia, but these travel agents in Malaysia that are selling to Indonesia is excluding low-cost carrier, because low-cost carrier booking usually book through their own travel agent portal like AirAsia. You have to go to airasia.com. There's a travel agent portal that you click and log in and book your travel agent booking. But this is most to the full service carrier like Malaysia Airlines, Garuda, Malindo, which is available on GDS. So this, you can see the top 10 revenue generating agents selling to Indonesia, starting with corporate information travel, Mayflower, holiday tours, PSD, Citinet travel, and so on. When you look at in terms of tax count, it's also more or less the same. It's still corporate information travel, Mayflower, holiday tour, PSD, and so on. But again, I say this data actually exclude the low-cost carrier booking. So if you have one travel agent that booked a lot in low-cost carrier, it will not be captured here as well, because we still don't have that kind of system that can capture all in one. So we are going again campaigns execution. This is to let you know what we have done in Malaysia together with the regional one marketing team as well as Pito from January 2019 up to September 2019. So we haven't included the October, November and December figure yet. But up to now we have done 20 execution in trade travel exhibition. This is B2C that include like travel fair, like Mata Fair, MITM Fair, our consumer selling in shopping mall and so on. And then in terms of B2B part, we have did about 17 executions. This is a trade event such as like sales mission that you all attended, the trade workshops, the BBTF, and as well as World Travel Month. And in terms of fan trips, we have did 5 at the so far, which include trade fan, media fan, influencer fan as well. So I was also asked to do some comparison in terms of competitions, and if we look at competition-wise, no doubt it's quite the same numbers. Thailand is still number 1, followed by Indonesia, Singapore, Vietnam, Japan, and Korea. The thing is, for Singapore-wise, the number is quite different with ASDAP numbers, because this is actually excluding, this is the minimum one-night stay for Singapore. So this one we actually call Singapore tourism, to double-check the numbers. But if you look at it, actually, Korea has the highest growth year to date from January to October. They grow by about 15%. But for Indonesia, we have the highest fast growth. We grow by about 146,000 of visitors compared to the same period of last year. Although the percentage is not the highest, but the numbers is actually the highest. So in terms of airlines, we also need to know that we all know how important accessibility is. Without airlines, tourism cannot grow and so on. So we look at the seats count available. So Indonesia has about 2.4 million of seats from Malaysia into Indonesia. China has 1.3 million. Thailand has 800,000. Although Thailand has only over 800,000 of seats, they actually clocked about 4 million visitors last year, because it's actually Thailand and Malaysia, you can cross it by border by driving, and also there's train and sea as well. That's kind of help out with the numbers. So Vietnam is just about 500,000, Japan 280,000, and Korea 275,000 of seats. So we also do a little bit benchmarking in terms of competition, in terms of price packaging. So when we do this, we actually take 10 travel agent packages missing on Bali, Lombok, Belitung, comparing to Phuket, Koh Samui, and PP Island as an average price. So we take the 5 days, 4 nights as the same comparison, so we have an apple to apple. So if you look at the price, still not bad. We are still cheaper than Thailand, slightly not much, about $20 US. They don't really make much difference, but yeah, they're still slightly cheaper. This is for beach and island destination. So when we look at metropolitan or shopping or cities, if we compare the Indonesia destination with Japan, The price wise is more than half, but again, we know Japan is an expensive country, so everyone is expected that kind of price. So we are that kind of comparison that we're looking at. Again, this comparison of packages is actually excluding flight. So it's only ground, hotels, and tour only. Flight is not included. So if you look at UNESCO and heritage comparisons, Vietnam is actually cheaper than Malaysia. So we go to Ho Chi Minh, Dalat, the cost that you need, the Malaysian need to spend is variously about $270 while comparing to coming to Borobudur and Prambanan, you have to spend about $313. Again, China is still slightly higher at $491, but we all know that China is considered like big boy, you have to fly like 4-5 hours, but Indonesia is short haul, so comparison wise is much more with Vietnam side. So again, nature and landscape, this is what Indonesia we are very proud of. We have very, very strong and good nature and landscape. Anyone have idea what's the background from? Anyone know where the background picture is from? Yes, exactly. That's why you're on the travel line. Yeah? So it's from Lake Nova, that's correct. So if we compare the natural landscape, we actually take Taiwan as a comparison because a lot of Malaysians like to go to Taiwan because of the natural scenery that is available in Yeliu, in Xinjing, in Taipei, and so on. So when we compare both sides, we are still in a price advantage. You can say we are about 200, near to $130 difference. So we also do a few case study of what the competitors of us are doing very good. If you look at Thailand, Thailand is actually very strong in terms of their airline partnership, and they create a lot of digital campaigns with very catchy slogans. So if you can see here, they have a campaign called Fun Thai Stick, and the airfare is as low as $59 ringgit in Malaysia for a one-way trip from KL into the destination in Thailand. So this is something that we should also do very heavily, to work very closely with the airlines, because we can really leverage on the airlines' presence and their airfare, because one of the main reasons for people to travel is because the airfare is affordable. If we look at Taiwan, what Taiwan did very well is that they actually use celebrity influencer powers. So not just normal influencer, but celebrity influencer. So they actually appointed Mira Filzah, which is very famous. I think most of you would also know, very famous celebrity in Malaysia, as their brand ambassador. So then when they run an event, they run a campaign, they post something online, her face is there. And then she will also post things related to Taiwan and so on to promote Taiwan as a Muslim-friendly destination, and it works very, very well. Another comparison with JNTO, Japan right now spends lots of money in digital marketing, and in fact, the last time when we checked with the JNTO office in KL, they spent approximately about $500,000 is about 2 million ringgit in Malaysia in digital marketing in Malaysia alone, digital marketing only. And they just celebrated that they now have 200,000 followers in their digital landscape. As we say, millennials are using gadgets, are on phone right now. To be honest, we really have to go into the digital era and start to compete with them in the digital field. And Korean tourism, one of the things that I like Korean tourism is that they mix the offline and online together very well. So what they did, one of the campaign they did is that they wrapped the KL Rapid, which is a train, like an MRT train in KL, and they have each cabin has a 4 seasons, because in Korea there's 4 seasons. There's a winter, autumn, summer, and what. So each of the cabin would have the environment that looks like, if you enter the winter cabin, it looks like winter with snow and all, and then they tell you what food is nice to eat during winter and what to do during winter. Then you go to the autumn station, then they also show you what you can do during the autumn, what you can eat during autumn. Then they ask people to take their selfie, because now millennials all love selfie, post it online and hashtag them to be the trip. So it's kind of like a very creative, combining an offline and online campaign all together. Okay, in terms of Vietnam, again, like we say, if you look at the bracket over there, it's all sponsored. So that means this is all retargeting that I received in my phone. So the same thing is Vietnam Tourism Board is also spending a lot of money in digital marketing, and this is what, because if you see sponsor, you know they actually invest to target. And when I read this message, that means their demographic or target audience is a Malaysian at my age and like to travel and so on. So they click me as a target audience, and they are actually spending quite a lot in digital marketing as well. So moving forward, some of our video recommendations. I was very happy that my first recommendation is quite in line with what our president was asking, which to improve the infrastructure. I think a lot of tourism sectors, people always forgot that infrastructure and facilities actually goes hand in hand with tourism. People don't want to come to a destination that the road is very bad. People do not want to come to a place that there's no proper toilet. People do not want to come to a place that only has 2-star hotel. People don't want to come to a place that you have to take 3 hours drive from the airport to reach the city center or the attraction. So the infrastructure investment is actually relatively important, because in Indonesia, what we have is nature beauty. We have so much nature beauty, but what we lack of is the development of infrastructure and facilities. The second recommendation, again, go back to digital wise. We need to increase our social presence. We need to increase our digital investment. We need to be present online. People need to see us 24/7. They need to see. Pak Asdaq talked about Industry 4.0. Anyone have idea what is Industry 4.0? Artificial intelligence. 4.0 is artificial intelligence. People are now recognizing what your browsing history is, your cookies. That means what you search to target you. This is what the Industry 4.0 is using. The same thing is, you're gonna Google a beach destination in Thailand. If Indonesian tourism, we invest in the artificial intelligence and the retargeting, we can actually send automatically the same destination, and for example, Lombok, to the person's mobile phone as a retargeting without me clicking anything. And then to try to steal the competition. Instead, people are looking for a beach in Thailand, they will see our advertisement and they will consider us. So these are the things that we really have to go. And honestly, to say the digital marketing and the social presence, that means we have to be seen. And the same thing for all of you that do travel agent hotels, you need to have your website ready, you need to have your social media ready, because that is where your customers are looking for information, credential, credibility, and at the end of the day, with the young millennials, that's how they're gonna book it. They're gonna book it online, they're gonna buy you from Facebook, that's how they're gonna purchase your tour and your packages. So the third one, we also talk about the same thing as we have read a lot of same things, so yeah, we are good. So we call it the rise of the new travel demand, the experiential travel. We talk a lot about experiential travel, but people don't know what is actually mean of experiential travel. So we actually extract this. So as from Google, this is actually from Google, what Google say about experiential travel. So experiential travel is a form of tourism in which people focus on experiencing a destination by actively engaging and participating with its history, people, culture, food, and environment. That means they want to be part of it. For example, if you have a cultural dance, they do not want to sit there and watch the cultural dance. They want to learn and dance together. If they see they don't want to see just nice food. They probably want to experience how to make the nice food together. They want to be part of the story so that they can remember much more. They don't want to be in the bus and say, look right, this is what, look left, this is what. These days are gone. The young millennials need to feel that they are part of the thing. So if you're creating your packages, you need to create something that they can feel that they are involved, they are part of it. So that is what the new experiential travel is all about. Again, the same thing, if you look at the statistics, the numbers, everything, Malaysia is still very heavily traveled by families. So again, if you're going to develop your packages, again, the traveling with friends and family is actually the number one reason why Malaysia travels. Sometimes, like Singaporean, the number one reason why Singaporean travel is because they need to unwind, they need to de-stress, because it's very stressful life and all. But for Malaysia, the first reason why we want to go holiday is because we want to spend time with our family and our loved one. So if you can create a package that is suitable for these directions, you are actually targeting the right audience as well. Again, thematic tour packaging, this is also something on the rise, has been gaining popularity. So the millennials also seek specific experience when they travel. So sometimes they wanted to go on a gastronomy trail, they want to go on a wellness and spa trail, they want to go on an adventurous trail. So that's what they are looking at, a specific thematic tour. They don't want the one campur one, you like nasi campur here, you have a little bit here, a little bit. Millennials are different nowadays. They want very specific, they want things that tailor to them. That's what. That's why if you can create thematic tour packaging that will actually help your business to target the young millennials. Now the millennials are influencer only. They are influencing their parents to go where to go. But in the next couple of years, they are actually the decision maker. They are the travelers themselves. They are your customer in the near future. And last but not least, I think we talk about cross-border. This is actually very, very important in tourism. We see a lot of Thailand did very good job in terms of attracting us into their cross-border part, because we can really drive there. We established together with Thai government, we built a train between Penang, Butterworth, as well directly into Thailand to Bangkok, to Hat Yai, and so on. So the accessibility becomes easier. And actually, to be honest, the cross-border remains a low-hanging fruit, given that the proximity is nearer and it's easier to access. So we need to create more like events, festivals that we can drag people to come through, either from the Borneo side to Kalimantan, or even from the Johor side down to Bintan and Batam. And I think the hot deals is also something very, very good to have, because that's how we can actually attract them to move faster and so on. I think the development of hot deals is necessary, but more towards that, I think it has to be sustainable kind of hot deals. Because sometimes we have this price, but when people try to book, there's actually no price as this price. So this is something that I think the hot deals PCO or whoever in charge need to make sure that the price that we available to sell is the price available for the market to buy. Because otherwise, everyone is just gonna tell us that you are false advertising, you're just cheating. You say that there's 300 ringgit for 5 nights, but then 300 ringgit for 5 nights, when you want to book, there's no such thing. So that's about it for my recommendation, and I hope it is helpful. I look forward to talk to most of you. So
Thank you, Derek. Yeah. Oke. Dan tadi ada yang menarik nggak?
Menarik.
Ada yang menarik. Saya mau buat sesuatu yang agak ajaib. Coba lihat yang bilang Kakak Kevin yang tadi berapa persen dari travel agent dia belinya? Mulai mikir kita, oke. Jadi kita punya partner di Malaysia itu, ya, yang menjualkan kita punya produk itu yang 12%. So, apa yang dilakukan? Ini kita mulai mengakali, Indonesia mulai jago. Bagaimana jalan ini? Ada ide? Saya harus discuss dengan Kevin tadi. Bagaimana tidak melanggar aturan, tapi juga kita bisa mendapatkan marketnya directly. Kira-kira ada ide? Silakan. Ini kita diskusi langsung ya.
Gini, tadi ini nyambung sebenarnya dengan apa yang disampaikan sama Pak Fahmi ya, Pak Asden, mengenai apa namanya, sekarang orang cenderung untuk lookbook and pay ya. Nah, yang belum dijelaskan mungkin ada satu, saya pikir di masyarakat Malaysia ini mereka tentu paham digital. Cuma selama ini kan harus disampaikan juga, mereka selama ini kalau pesan itu pakai aplikasi apa? Nah itu yang perlu kita tahu. Misalnya kayak di Indonesia kan kita tahu lah semuanya kan, karena kita pakai. Tapi di Malaysia ini kan bukan itu. Nah, aplikasi-aplikasi apa saja yang menjadi favoritnya masyarakat Malaysia ini, kita cinta Malaysia. Mungkin kalau bisa kita ada satu pengkajian, sehingga misalnya ke Malaysia itu, masyarakat Malaysia itu pesan lewat ini. Nah, strateginya tadi betul apa yang dikatakan Pak Tendi, bahwa akhirnya kita berpikir nih, mengakali kan. Nah, artinya kalau begitu kami yang di industri, di dunia usaha itu harus bekerja sama dengan aplikasi yang ada di Malaysia gitu loh. Jadi misalnya nih contoh kawan-kawan di Lombok atau kawan-kawan di Bandung, di di Kabar juga, kita akan cari tuh aplikasi yang ini, kita akan tawarkan kerjasama karena aplikasi itu kan bukan travel agent sebenarnya, mereka tuh platform saja. Jadi sebenarnya tidak menjadi musuh kita. Justru sebenarnya kita bisa tawarkan. Nah, akhirnya juga nanti kalau misalnya kita usahakan, kita bisa bernegosiasi ke mereka karena itu kan ada biayanya tuh, commissionnya. Nah, saya sudah pernah tanya sama Traveloka. Jadi saya coba tanya, kalau di Traveloka kan mereka ada tuh aplikasi untuk atraksinya. Saya tanya, Mbak, kamu mudah sekali tuh, jauh di bawah saya. Mbak, kalau saya mau kerjasama kemudian masukin paket di sini berapa? 25% dia minta itu. 5%. Jadi kalau misalnya paket kita misalnya 750, kita kepotong ke 25%. Nah, ini kan menjadi peluang sama kita nih. Kalau misalnya di Malaysia mereka punya aplikasi juga, ya kan, kita kerjasama dengan ini. Orang Malaysia misalnya, nah ini yang perlu kita tahu, Pak Tendi. Artinya ini peluang kita. Kami akan konsentrasi itu di pembuatan paket wisatanya seperti yang disampaikan oleh Kevin ya, Kevin, bahwa tadi tematik dan segala macamnya. Mohon dibantu juga untuk mengkonekkan kami dengan aplikasi yang paling banyak dipakai, yang paling populer dipakai sama masyarakat Malaysia. Itu aja sih saya pikir.
Iya, ini menarik. Saya tadi minta sama Kevin, saya bisa kepanggilan tadi. Kan kalau kami yang dari Indonesia, kita langsung, teman-teman punya database customer kan ya? Punya semua kan? Kalau kami punya package langsung ke customer by email atau WhatsApp, boleh nggak? Boleh. Kalau bayarnya by online, boleh nggak? Atau transfer, boleh. Melanggar nggak? Nggak. Jadi kenapa? Kita bisa nggak masuk intervensi mereka langsung ke mereka? Karena itu jatuhnya cuma 12%. Kendala kita apakah agent kita di sana menjual produk kita?
Tidak, 12%.
Satu. Jadi kita sama-sama nih analisa apa yang terjadi. Kedua, teman-teman sendiri memberikan nggak cara yang menjual di sana? Teman-teman pernah menjadi mystery guest langsung ke travel agent di Malaysia? Dia jual nggak produk kita?
Kalaupun jual Bali, Lombok.
Kalau dia jual, menarik. Saya senang sekali. Ini diskusi kita mulai mikir. Teman-teman tenangnya waktu, terus gimana? Boleh dong nasib gue ini ya? Pertama satu itu, kedua apa? Waktu tanya, ada apa? Ada di Jogja. Ada apa di Jogja? It's a Kraton and temple. And then kita kasih produk knowledge mereka cukup nggak untuk itu, produk kita? Kita kadang-kadang sana kita punya produk, kita kasih nih, set ke travel mereka. Sampai ujung nggak kita kasih mereka. Ini teman-teman saya kasih gambaran aja. Ini terjadi pada destinasi lain, yaitu Australia. Kemarin saya dibikin Australia juga. Kita punya 4 wholesale di Australia. Ternyata travel yang di wisatawan yang melalui wholesale berapa persen?
Mereka sering pakai apa?
10%.
Misalnya mereka pakai
90% darat ke Bali. Salah nggak? Enggak. Maka kita tadi, makanya saya bilang kalau buat kreatif semua. Sekarang adanya paketnya itu lagi. Nanti tahun depan itu lagi. Lusa itu lagi. Kreatif kita harus sama-sama jalanin nih. Vietnam, pernah nggak lihat ada Thailand di Mata Fair? Sekali. Setelah itu ada lagi. Setiap every other week dia sending the new package to the customer by email. Dia sending, zut baru lagi, terus dia sending. Apa yang terjadi? Baru lagi, jadi bagus banget deh, kombinasi itu, produksi itu yang mereka buat terus menerus sampai jadi. Ini teman-teman Pak Radi ini kemarin kita cuma exercise kan ke Malaysia ya,
Data emailnya.
di Toba.
Kita kerjasama.
Orang kita itu melihat orang Batak itu kan kasar kali kan ya, bicara pun nggak sopan-sopan, ngeri kali kalau Batak. Tapi apa yang terjadi? Kami bawa kemarin milenialnya Malaysia ke Toba dengan tema yang agak aneh untuk biasanya adalah kulineri di Toba. Mulai masak sendiri nasi goreng andaliman sampai dia ke pasar sama-sama, dia masak sambal teri, semua mereka lakukan sendiri. Dan kita buat people, sebelumnya kita buat juga di sana, people to people, mereka ke sawah, mereka ke sekolah, mereka ketemu murid-murid di sana. Karena Malaysia untuk edukasinya sudah masuk ke 5.0, bukan 4.0. Apa itu 5.0? Di antaranya adalah people to people interaction. Jadi teman-teman kalau masuk ke university di Malaysia, mereka bukan 4.0 lagi, sudah 5.0. Maksudnya kalau dia trip, dia ingin ada people to people interaction. Apa yang tadi Toba? Waktu mereka sampai ke Silangit ya, waktu itu udah keluar nama ya. Silangit juga, apa yang terjadi? Kamu pulang. Bahkan yang pertama apa dia bilang? I love Toba. Dia taruh di mana? Dia punya Instagram semua. Terima kasih Bakaran. Di Facebook dia, di YouTube dia. Bahkan viewersnya lebih banyak daripada Wonderful Indonesia. Jadi viewernya mereka lebih banyak daripada film kita Wonderful Indonesia. Apa yang terjadi? Itulah milenial. Mereka tidak ada sightseeing, tapi apa? Experience-nya dan buat tematiknya. Jadi teman-teman, saya udah tanya Kevin dan tidak melanggar peraturan di Malaysia. Jadi kita bisa direct ke Malaysia nggak? Bisa. Caranya tidak ada pembayaran di Malaysianya. Kode transfer kita bisa nggak? Bisa. PayPal bisa nggak? Bisa.
Sotope.
Wah, ini kita oke lo buat begitu gue buat lain. Selain tadi yang beliau bilang, adanya aplikasi di sana. Yang dia percaya kita percaya dia, dan kita bisa pasang, kita punya sistem di sana untuk melakukan hal itu. Ada lagi tanggapan teman-teman mengenai ini? Teman-teman banyak pikir, 12% kayaknya membuat kita agak gelisah ya. Karena 88% itu ternyata mereka jalan sendiri. Tadi teman-teman Lombok bilang, pertama dia datang pakai travel agent, kedua kali sendiri. Ternyata bukan yang murahnya. Ini kita fakta yang jadi. 12% travel agent kita di sana tidak aktif. 12% saja. Ini terjadi di Malaysia, Indonesia Bapak, ya. Ya, jadi ini general effect yang ada. Jadi kita sama-sama bagaimana aktifnya kita direct selling ke mereka. Informasi mengenai kita punya semua. Kita pikir-pikir, bahkan saya pikir gini. Di tahun lalu kita membuat dari Jogja, Mbak siapa? Pak Seri, Pak Seri. Kita belum jadi ya buat itu ya, konsorsium travel agent di Malaysia ya. Iya, kita pikir-pikir, kita buatnya house di Malaysia, yang jual produk kita, tapi nggak menyalahi Malaysia juga. Ini satu travel agent dibuat di Malaysia, yang kita punya kita semua, taruh langsung kita di sana. Dan dia anggota marka juga, nggak salah kita kan? Karena kita punya tuh susahnya, apakah produk kita
dijual
dengan 12% itu kita mengganggu sekali nih. Jadi pertama dua, kalau Kevin, what's the biggest club? The biggest one driver?
Expedia as a whole, but Club in terms of attractions.
Okay.
Oh, clue.
See, we can do that.
Tapi dia tak jual package, dia tak jual tiket, dia tak jual package, dia cuma jual entrance tiket dengan one by one lah attraction macam tu.
Nah, sekarang ada kecenderungan menarik. Mereka tidak bisa buat tiket saya 3 hari 2 malam lagi. Tapi dia pegang apa sana? Untuk Bali misalnya. Per event, satu hari saya mau ke sini, mau ke sini, mau ke sini. Jadi dia beli yang klik yang pertama di sini, kedua di sini, ketiga di sini. Jadi bukan paketnya yang 2 3 malam lagi, tapi paketnya yang seperti yang dikatakan saya mau di Bali masuk yang food tour saja, satu. Kedua saya mau ke sini, ketiga ke sini. Teman-teman Kalbar bisa nggak? Bisa. Kalbar ini kaya sama foodnya, gila. Kalau sore hari di Pontianak kita ya, saya naik 3 kilo saudara. Ini racun saya itu udah Kalbar. Saya bantuin buat hotel di Kalbar. Tapi bayangin kita punya food sudah ada. Apalagi heritage ada nggak? Pakai heritage sendiri. Ada. Jogja kami membuat dengan UGM 5 trail baru. Body and Soul untuk Borobudur. Ada Star Experience karena Mendut dan Borobudur serta Pawon itu ada rasi bintang Orion yang kami dapat. Jadi banyak sekali yang kita bisa gali sama-sama teman-teman. Jadi kita harus create satu produk lagi. Teman-teman Riau ada Riau?
Yes.
Riau, Capri. Bayangkan tetangga yang Mbak di Batam, Tanjung Pinang, Penyengat, sekarang direct cruise dari Ho Chi Minh ke Penyengat, bukan Tanjung Pinang. Dia turun dengan skoci masuk ke Penyengat. Apa yang kami buat sama-sama? Saya tidak mau teori, karena kami sendiri, saya sendiri dengan tim yang membuat itu. Apa terjadi? Bayangin, pulau kecil seperti Penyengat, 150 orang Prancis high end cruise dari Ho Chi Minh direct ke Penyengat.
Sumik kan? Ini kan?
Skoci dan semua turun di Penyengat. Apa yang buat tarik? Kami jualan ke sana.
Dari mana deh?
How rich-nya mereka.
Namanya? Bukan.
Bagaimana Penyengat menjadi Melayu segala macam lah. Pantun pula awal di sana kan. Sampai semua kita jalankan akhirnya dari Prancis programnya sampai masuk sampai ke Penyengat. Bisa nggak teman-teman? Bisa. Maksud saya Malaysia kita buat yuk sama-sama, kita buat paket sama-sama. Kita nggak ngomong dari dulu, kita ngomong mengenai Indonesia Corporation. Kita buat sama-sama, kita serbu paket kita ke Malaysia sama-sama. Apa yang ada kita penetrasi di sana. Tapi benar, kita lihat aja ada dua ya kalau gitu ya application yang di sana ya, klub dengan can we discuss with them?
Yes, actually there's another one coming up. We already talked to them, which is the Asia Marketplace. Hello. Actually ada satu lagi aplikasi yang tengah berkembang sekarang. It's known as actually aasia.com. But it's very different with what the normal AirAsia is. The current AirAsia website that you go to buy flight tickets. But what AirAsia is going to do differently next year, most probably start in November of 2020, they will have revamped their aasia.com into an online marketplace where they will compete with Expedia, they will compete with Klook. You can put your product inside and there's attraction, there's tours, there's hotels, there's bus services, there's Wi-Fi device, there's whatever you can buy on aasia.com. That is starting of November 2020 actually. So I believe that because right now, if I'm not mistaken, they have a database of more than, because it's worldwide, so they have more than 50 million database of user in aasia.com. So I believe that once they start in November 2020, they should be the #1 online marketplace in Malaysia.
Oke, Pak Radi dan Kevin. Saya tagih langsung ya. Is it possible for us to discuss with them? Kita bisa nggak diskusi dengan mereka? Cari satu forum bersama, kita teman-teman semuanya, kita diskusi dengan mereka. Kalau bikin satu-satu lebih sulit kayaknya ya. Kita nggak punya bargain point. Ya kan, tapi kok kita semuanya kerjasama, kita bilang kita punya nggak right ke sana, setidak-tidaknya komisi yang tadi itu akan menurun. Ya kan? Dan kita punya bargain point di situ. Setuju nggak teman-teman itu? Belum dengar. Setuju nggak? Ya, sama-sama Pak Radi nanti memfasilitasi kita dengan online travel agent di Malaysia untuk kita bisa masuk ke sana dengan cara lebih bagus gitu. Karena 88% ini membuat kita harus membuat alternatif lain. Ada yang sudah masuk di online di Malaysia? Sudah? Gimana pengalamannya? Nah gimana? Silakan sharing.
Ya, untuk sementara kita sudah masuk di klub.
Wow. Oh, good. Gimana hasil penjualan dan segala macam?
Untuk di klub sementara kalau dibandingkan dengan OTA yang lain dia bagus karena mereka tidak statis di sisi komisi.
Oh dia variabel di sini ya?
Ya, dia
Tergantung
variabel karena
package-nya.
dia compare dengan harga publish kita, kemudian untuk komisi berapa itu on discuss.
Iya, ini makanya wadah seperti ini perlu antar kita untuk sharing. Ya, Bang? Apa? Oh, sudah. Syukurlah kalau itu anggotanya sudah luar biasa. Kalau ketuanya luar biasa. Ya, iya. Oke, Bang.
Cuma kita ada kendala dengan AirAsia sementara. Kalau AirAsia sementara dia tidak menunggu kita registrasi untuk sebagai operator karena mereka ngambil langsung direct dari OTA yang lain.
Iya, iya.
Ya itu sekarang dia orang nak ambil dari expedia.com sama, tapi kontrak dia akan habis Oktober 2020. So November 2020 Asia sendiri yang akan buat contracting.
Oh.
Nah, ini kita terus start sama. Indonesia akan negotiate dengan negara Asia untuk ini. Kita as a platform, apapun namanya kita, Indonesian Corporation, untuk masuk dengan Air Asia atau kita sama-sama. Jadi mumpung kontrak udah habis kita masuk sama-sama jadinya. Oke. Ada lagi teman-teman mau sharing? Silakan. Boleh. Tuan rumah boleh ngomong.
Baik Pak, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Abok
Tadi itu beliau ini memang spesial untuk tracking Rinjani. Paketnya dia nih, beliau nih yang saya. Kalau tadi bicara mengenai Malaysia itu yang tadi sekali kemarin malam kita udah dinner sama CEO-nya Malaysia, kita sudah bahas ini dari. Dia memang untuk kepercayaan dia lagi mendata Malaysia itu, jadi kata Kevin itu, oke mudah-mudahan saya bilang sama Pak Ibu Zakera itu. Terus kedua Pak, kami khusus di Asita itu memang dari tahun 2015 tiap tahun kita bikin B2B Pak dengan mata Lumpur, pokoknya sebelum mata fair ya Pak.
Yeah.
Jadi 3 tahun, memang dampaknya bagus. Belakangan ini kita kan lagi turun sekarang nih Pak Asep. Tahun lalu itu dia turun sekitar 60%. Padahal tahun lalu itu memang lagi gempa jadi dia memang turun. Sekarang banding yang sekarang gempa dia masih turun 60% Pak. Saya tanya kenapa? Ini bukan masalah produk. Jadi ternyata Pak kompetitor kita itu Pak Vietnam. Nah gitu. Saya tanya kenapa? Di samping tadi orang Malaysia meninggal 2 kali itu, ya, sedikit dia drop. Waktu itu yang terakhir itu yang bikin tambah drop sudah lagi naik kemarin itu 5 fair sudah laku lomok lagi apa namanya lagi hari kira-kira penutupan ya Pak Nurbian ya kompak sini Pak. Sini saya harus kompak. Ditanya dari masalahnya. Artinya itu pengaruhnya lumayan. Nah, ternyata kenapa turun ini Pak? Pertama salah satu saya tadi malam ngomong sama Pak Ibu Vera juga. Saya itu Malaysia ternyata masih dianggap masih mahal ke Lombok, sehingga mereka memang banyak kegiatan murah meriah, fasilitasnya juga oke. Nah itu yang perlu mungkin Pak Asep, khusus saya bicara Lombok, saya nggak tahu yang lain ya. Karena memang sejak kita memang tipikal orang Malaysia ini memang harus lebih banyak percaya diri dia daripada yang Hindu sih adalah, tapi tidak banyak. Tapi dia lebih banyak mungkin regulasinya dia Pak Nurdin ya, regulasinya orang Malaysia itu kan harus pakai travel agent kalau untuk jalan-jalan. Tapi kalau ada juga yang sendiri-sendiri dia mungkin online, sehingga mungkin mumpung ada Pak Asep sini memang kita untuk tahun ini turunnya 60% Pak. Ya ini data BPS Pak, bukan datanya. Jadi pernya naik ada dari rate naiknya 400%, persennya naik cuma dari ibaratnya dari 3.000 menjadi 13.000. Malaysia dari tahun bulan yang sama sampai sekarang ini, yang tahun lalu 70 ribuan, sekarang 25 ribuan lah. Sehingga saya sarankan tadi di Pekadis, di Dewan juga di DPR, kita mesti yang kita sedang lipat, misalnya naik kayak di sini turun, kan gitu. Nah di samping juga Pak, tipikal tamu Australia ini agak beda dengan Malaysia. Kalau tamu Malaysia ini dia dampaknya di UMKM. Dia jalan-jalan, kayak pakai tour, dia pakai tour, makan, terus segala macam. Kalau yang berarti dia dari airport langsung hotel yang dapat manfaatnya, nanti dia booking sendiri. Itu bedanya. Kenapa saya bilang Pak Kadis itu, makanya tiba-tiba mau ke Kuala Lumpur, tadi ajak saya juga, saya bilang aduh saya lagi masih capek nih Pak, saya bilang. Salah satu saya bilang kita mesti datangi lagi di kawan-kawan mata di sana, meyakinkan bahwa Lombok itu udah aman terkendali dan mudah-mudahan Malaysia sekarang ini bisa harga turun. Mungkin kita bicara dengan siapa? Saya terima ngomong sama Ibu Seri, kalau bicara tuh terlalu mahal loh sekarang. Berapa? Kalau dibanding sebenarnya mahal sih nggak? Dia orang masih akan banding kayak Vietnam. Saya cek Pak di pantas gitu. Jadi dari Kuala Lumpur ke Vietnam itu hanya rupiahnya itu 500 ribu. Kuala Lumpur kalau mau ke sekitar berapa ya, 800-an sampai 1 jutaan. Jadi dia ada spare itu. Tapi saya pikir itu tidak masalah kalau kita rajin di gedor di sana kan boleh-boleh saja. Saya kira itu yang menjadi perhatian khusus untuk dan mengenai produk khusus hasil kapal kita sudah punya yang namanya paket wisata halal Pak. Sudah dikalonsi Pak. Dan yang buat itu orang Malaysia. Nah, jadi waktu itu setelah kita juara tahun 2016 dapat destinasi ini, akhirnya masih Pak Tasbir dulu. Saya bilang begini Pak, jangan sampai wisata halalnya kita orang ketawa. Lebih bagus kita panggil orang Malaysia nih. Ambillah salah satu ketua mata, saya bilang kamu datang ke sini, kamu bantu saya. Maunya orang Malaysia tuh macam mana yang wisata halal? Dibuatlah sama di Australia, dia yang mau sendiri. Kita langsung ya lumayan lah. Cuma yang memang alam lah kalau gempa itu Kak. Jadi saya pikir mudah-mudahan yang adanya Mandalika ini Pak bisa mendongkrak lah untuk Lombok. Kira-kira kita yang bisa tambahan Pak.
Terima kasih banyak Pak. Ini menarik mengenai Vietnam. Saya nggak sedikit mengenai Vietnam. Vietnam selalu lagi kembangkan satu produk lucu sekali. Bagi kita nggak kepikiran adalah baju pengantin. Jadi di Vietnam ada produk yang menarik sekali mereka. Kalau semua satu keluarga mau menikah kan keluarga harus pakai baju seragam tuh, ya datang ke Vietnam diukur hari ini besok selesai dan harganya murah sekali, simple harganya. Jadi simple sekali dapatnya, produknya nggak usah disenasi karena kita jual ini pengalaman nih. Capri kita jual satu yang menarik waktu di Johor dan di Malaka kita sales mission di sana. Kita nggak jual banyak, kita nggak jual penyengat, kita nggak jual Batam, apa kita jual? Kopi Sekanak. Ada tau kopi Sekanak kan? Waktu di Malaka, Amal Johor kita bilang, yang bicara dengan kita, yang bicara itu waktu itu Pak Aswin, dia akademisi, dia kita bawa ke Tanjung Pinang, dia coba kopi Sekanak di sana. Waktu dia pulang, waktu sales mission dia bilang, ada tak yang sudah coba kopi Sekanak dia? Coba lah kopi Sekanak, enak gila. Selesai. Pas di boothnya mereka, orang datang apa kopi Sekanak. Jadi menjual satu produk sekarang tidak hanya produk, tidak hanya destinasi, tapi bisa produk nggak? Bisa produk. Waktu kita ada exhibition di Jeddah, kita kesana juga exhibition di Jeddah, saya bisa mewakili juga. Apa yang terjadi? Korea apa yang dijual? Kira-kira kita ada Jeju, yang dijual apa? Operasi plastik. Laku nggak? Laku. Setengah dari dia punya konter di Jeddah loh, di Jeddah dia jual operasi plastik. Jadi perempuan-perempuan itu masuk ke ruangan itu privacy untuk dirapikan, dilihat semua, dan mereka dikasih vouchernya untuk terbang ke Korea. Saya untuk bicara sama teman-teman Korea, how did? Good Pak Kenny, look it up. One day lebih dari 300 orang itu. Stand kita hanya sebagai talase aja dulu. Dan Middle East tetap yang paling utama di mana? Di Indonesia. Puncak, nggak ada yang puncak. Teman-teman Bali menarik, teman-teman Bali. Dia jual package-nya di mana? Bukan di Jeddah dia jual. Dia puncak. Karena semua semua datangnya tuh ke puncak dulu, baru dia pergi ke Bandung, dia pergi ke Jogja, kemana. Jadi saya dengan alhamdulillah diajak teman-teman nih kemana-mana nih, subscription saya bilang, oh ini targetnya di sini, oh targetnya di sini.
Bawa ke puncak dong Pak.
Bah?
Bawa ke puncak dong kita
Oh,
pasaran.
lagi, bukan Malaysia nih, jadi itu yang usah Saudi yang bawa.
Arab.
Maksud saya Pak,
Arab maklum.
menjual sesuatu tidak harus destinasinya, tapi produknya bisa nggak? Bisa. Nah, abangku dari Medan sekarang bicara. Mas Rade. Ini orang semua nih hebat-hebat kali semua nih. Saya kasih informasikan hari ini yang hadir 19 provinsi loh. Jadi semua kumpul di sini. Yuk, selamat.
Terima kasih Pak Tendi. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Selamat siang, salam sejahtera bagi kita semua. Horas.
Horas.
Saya sebenarnya hanya ingin sedikit memberikan klarifikasi saja Pak Tendi terhadap narasi Pak Tendi tadi. Kalau orang Batak sana itu